The previous lesson demonstrated the organization required for servlets and jar files. With this lesson, we add JSPs and regular HTML files to the application. Other than that, the layout is about the same as it was in the previous example. One source code directory has been added. It's the HTML JSP source directory. You can put these in separate directories if you wish, but they're deployed in exactly the same way, so for this example, I just put them in the same directory. This HTML page displays a heading and a couple of lines of text explaining that it is a simple HTML page. As you'll see, it deploys and displays just like a Java server page. Remember, Ant works with entire directories of files, so you can add HTML files to this directory without making any changes to the build file of Ant, and they will all be properly deployed. You can also add all the JSP files you want into this same directory. This Java server page does something new in the declaration. It has an import statement, which you've seen before. Now, this declaration is where you usually find global variables or methods that you want to call, but in this example, it's the declaration of an inner class. This is the nowString class. It's the same pair of methods as the one that was stored in the jar file for the servlets to use. You can put beans in a jar file and use them in a JSP page, and I'll be showing you that later. But this is a small class, so I thought I would just leave the bean problem out of this one. Here is the first code generated inside the method that produces a page. This is the declaration of a reference and the creation of an object from the inner class definition. Then the expression tag is used to insert an expression that generates a string version of the count of milliseconds. Another expression tag is then used to generate the long form of the current date and time. And that's all the new code for this example. This required some minor changes to the build file for Ant. It's almost the same as it was before. A new property has been added. This is the name of the directory containing the HTML files and the JSP files. No work directory needs to be created for them because they don't compile before they're deployed, so there's no place needed to store their class files. We just need to be able to grab the source code and deploy it as it is. Nothing has to be done to prepare the files, so it's just a matter of putting them in the WAR file. They don't go into a subdirectory, so they're just listed as a plain file set. The input here is the name of the directory holding the source code. The name of the WAR file is set to current, so that will be the application name in the URL. If it had been left with the same name as the previous example, it would appear with that same name on the server. And that's all we need to do, so here goes. And if it deployed okay, we can run the HTML page. We should be able to display it this way. Here you see that the HTML page show page deployed inside the current application. The JSP page has a slightly different name. And there you see the result of the Java code being run and the whole thing converted to a web page and displayed. That's most of the fundamental things that you can do using Ant. There are some special cases of deployment, such as beans that can be displayed inside Java server pages, but those are minor tweaks to Ant and are left to later lessons. There's one other thing about directory names and such, is packages. I'll show you how to handle packages and names in the next lesson.